Good evening, everyone. You're with Television One. It's time now for Country Calendar to take us to the Southern Oceans for a spot of squid fishing.
The sub-Antarctic Ocean, foul weather end of the Roaring Forties, one of the roughest commercial fishing grounds in the world. Every season, factory trawlers steam south to the waters around New Zealand's sub-Antarctic islands. They come to hunt for squid. Foreign and Kiwi vessels leave port all around the country for the fishing grounds. But for many bound for the southern harvest, Littleton is their last landfall. The Miss Skalisti from Vladivostok is in port again, her crew fresh from holidays in Russia. After 3 weeks getting shipshape, they're ready now to head south for the squid. There are normally about 80 crew, but on this trip to the sub-Antarctic, there'll be 2 extra. New Zealanders employed by the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries to keep an eye on things.
Добрый день. Добрый день. Как вас зовут? Володя. Володя Тереза. Очень приятно. Добрый день. Филипп. Володя.
They are scientific observers. Their job, to monitor and record the fishing. This 2,000-ton factory trawler is to be their home and workplace for the next 6 weeks.
Один оставите.
It wasn't long ago that ships like this would operate in the deep-water fishing grounds, and our authorities couldn't say for sure what was being caught or how much. There was no one on board to keep an eye on the trawling.
Midships. Full ahead. Full ahead. Hard starboard.
The ministry could count the frozen fish when the ship came back, but what was lost in the net, dumped at sea or ground up for meal was anyone's guess.
Thank you very much. Have a good trip. See you next time.
All the ministry had to rely on was the ship's logs, and they weren't always reliable. Some skippers were either rounding the figures off or hiding something. Several prosecutions later, the ministry realized this was no way to run an $800 million a year business. So last year, a scientific observer program was organized. Put as many people on as many fishing vessels as possible and start taking notes.
В жестоких и многочисленных сражениях воины молодой советской Hi.
How's it going?
How's it going? How's your cabin?
Oh, I can't complain. It's quite good, really.
Yeah, spacious like this.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same, really. It's not too bad.
Ex-crayfisherman and mime artist, Canadian-born Peter Shearer is a typical observer, a self-starter and a bit of a maverick. They have to be to work long hours in a foreign culture with a partner they've usually never met before. At 21, Teresa Moore is the youngest on the program, but she's already clocked up 4 months on Russian ships.
She's moving too.
Can we get into the fish ponds? Or-
No. They're fairly small there. They may hold about 5 tons each if it's exactly like my last ship. And you can't actually get into them. Although they open straight out to a conveyor belt into the factory, so you can see all the bycatch as it comes through.
I see. So
All the catch.
what's the opening on the top? Is it quite small? Is it so they're going to drop it into the fish ponds and then it's completely
straight in.
closed? No, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They'll get to know each other and figure out the best way to measure the catches.
No, but we watched every trawl when it came in.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
They have 3 days to do that, the time it takes to steam 1,000 kilometres to the squid grounds off the Auckland Islands, at a fuel-saving 8 knots. Ever since the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, our government has restricted the Russian fishing fleet to the sub-Antarctic zone, the region that's roughest and most squid poor. Still, there can be up to 20 vessels out hunting, and they catch around 30,000 tonnes of fish a year, about a third of that squid. They make enough of a dent in our fisheries to warrant observer coverage. So on the trip down, there's a lot of sorting and straightening out to do for both teams. For the Russians, it's the nets. For Peter and Teresa, it's how they'll monitor those nets in action.
Do they actually pull the net up on deck before they use those winches back there, the cables on those winches, connect those?
As soon as the net comes up towards the stern ramp, they change cables, and these cables over here are used to bring it up the final distance.
Oh yeah? And doors they disconnect and hang off the back or off the side?
Just over towards the side.
Oh yeah?
Big trawlers like this one catch 80% of fish caught in our waters. They're most likely to do damage to our resource and gain most from cheating. By targeting a percentage of them, foreign and Kiwi, that resource can be monitored.
And the actual fish holds, fish ponds, they reckon hold about 5 tons each. Is that...
5 or a bit more.
Yeah, a bit more, I suppose.
The observers are here to record how much is caught. One way of measuring this is to find out how much the squid ponds hold.
Not that bad in there, actually. You know how that goes? That's pretty good. Cast those down. I got it on me, yeah.
The Mescalesti has finally reached its southern fishing ground. The last job before trawling starts is to hoist the giant trawl doors into position on the stern. They'll stay out there for the trip, to be raised and lowered with the net, their enormous weight keeping the net mouth strained apart and down near the seabed. It's time, too, for a chat over the charts with Captain Sergei Kudrashov.
5 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, catch 1 tons, 0. 1 ton's very nice.
As well as their maths, Peter and Teresa were picked for their ability to make the best of a foreign environment and get on with the job they're here to do.
I think really what the most important thing we're doing is gathering information on the fish stocks that are around, what's being caught, what's not being caught, you know, just so that I think over a period of time, when we start to get a lot of data back from observers, we're going to get a more accurate picture of what actually is out here. Prior to the observer scheme being introduced, we were getting data, but it couldn't sort of guarantee that it was was accurate all the time.
What sort of person do you think a good observer should be?
Someone that fits in well to a lot of situations. You can, all different cultures we have to live with, and to be able to fit in with them, and also be able to do long hours, 7 days a week for 2 months at a time, and be able to put up with that sort of lifestyle in cramped conditions, storms, seasickness, whatever, you know, just be able to put up with all that.
Do you ever get tired of it? Do you ever say, stop, I want to get off the boat?
You can't. There's no way to go.
The first trawl net was shot 3 hours ago. But since then, they've heard over the radio the fleet catches have been small. It takes about an hour to haul up the net. A slow and dangerous winching of ropes and cables, deck length by deck length. Cables that can snap and whiplash. Squid spottings are done from the bridge and from fish sounders on the net itself. Trawl speeds are a comfortable 3 knots and the net's kept at a constant depth just above the seabed. Once the net hits the deck, Peter and Teresa go into action. It's a good catch, and this is where their job really begins. They make an eyeball estimate. This one's a healthy 6 tons, but it's still only an estimate. They'll be able to get a more accurate picture once they've checked the fish ponds. And that's it on top. The rest of the observer's job is below decks. And this is the factory. It's here that Teresa and Peter do most of their work. For the moment, they'll work together. But when they've got their measuring and weighing system fine-tuned, they'll work in shifts. Hours are spent down here, counting, measuring, sampling, weighing and calculating, trying to get the job done before all this squid is processed. For the observers, the most important job is to calculate how much has been caught. To do this, Teresa processes a sample of the catch in the same way the Russians do it. She separates the tentacles from the body of the squid, calculates wastage, and the equation should pinpoint how much came aboard. When the Russians fish for squid, it's almost entirely squid they catch. There is some bycatch, varieties like bream, silver worryhow and tuna, and this is either processed or munched up in the fish meal plant a deck below. It's another important part of the observer's job to record what other species are caught. Today's bycatch can quickly become tomorrow's fish fad. It's been 2 hours since the squid spilled onto the decks above. The fish has been separated into body and tentacles, washed and flash frozen. It's now ready for packaging, Russian style. All taped up, it's bound for the open markets in Singapore and the domestic Russian trade. Peter and Teresa also collect biological data for fisheries research scientists.
37 centimeters. Okay, it's a male.
Fisheries have only one deep water research vessel for all New Zealand waters, so observers do a lot of backup research. This trip, they're measuring and sexing squid.
Okay, it's a female. 35 centimeters.
Deep-sea vessels have been fishing in our waters for decades now, but the rules have changed dramatically. In 1978, we declared our 200-mile limit and slashed fishing quotas in half. Some fishing captains ignored the rules and were convicted in court. Our MAF people were sure more boats were cooking the quota books, so the Observer program was born. Its task, to monitor deep-sea trawlers and provide data to plan for the future of New Zealand's fisheries. Danielevna, Nikolaevna and Svetlana together have clocked up 29 years in their floating kitchen. They've cooked with the Russian fleet off Singapore, Cuba, Panama, Lima and in the Bering Sea. 6 months on, 6 months back home with the children. Today it's beef and potatoes for 85. Most of the crew go to sea for only about 3 years. To see the world, they say, and save some money. At 120 rubles a week, that's about $350, the pay is better than the Soviet average. And they get bonuses for a good catch. But New Zealand waters aren't all that popular. Russian fishing companies have to shell out higher wages to attract enough people to man ships bound for New Zealand. Too far from home, they say, the catches aren't great, and a sub-Antarctic storm is no fun on a full stomach. But when it costs $30,000 a day to run the ship, they'll trawl in all weathers. It's been a weird squid season. Even the experts are baffled. The boats massed down here before Christmas. The catches were small then, even smaller now. And that's cold comfort for the Russian fleet, which is paid for a $2 million a year license to fish. And there's no refund. Fewer squid through the factory means for once the observers have time on their hands. Teresa and Peter will have about 6 more weeks aboard. And for a film crew preparing to leave after just 1 week, their job seems a tough and isolated one. But it's a job that's already attracted more than 100 people. There are 30 at sea at a time, and there's a waiting list as long as your arm. So there's no shortage of people willing to travel for weeks at sea with few comforts. Peter and Teresa hope their work on board the Mescalisti and other ships will help this country manage its fishery with some degree of certainty and confidence in the future.